to this video. This video will talk about literary genre. So let's define first literary genre. Literary genre, a list of type of books included in the list and may be used as search criteria to find books of interest of the list. Literary genre have different types. So first is drama. Stories composed in verse or prose, usually for theatrical performance, where conflicts and emotion are expressed through dialogue and action. My example for drama is Romeo and Juliet. Romeo and Juliet is a tragedy written by William Shakespeare early in his career about two young star-crossed lovers whose death ultimately reconciled their feuding families. It was among Shakespeare's most popular play during his lifetime, and along with Hamlet, is one of his most frequently performed plays. So let's watch a short clip about Romeo and Juliet.
Many years ago, in Verona, Italy, there were two families.
We are the Capulets.
We are the Montagues. These families are always fighting. The Montagues have a son, Romeo. The Capulets have a daughter, Juliet. One night, the Capulets have a party, and Romeo goes. He meets Juliet, and they fall in love. Juliet's cousin Tybalt sees Romeo and is very angry.
He's a Montague. Get him!
Oh, Romeo, why are you a Montague? Romeo and Juliet talk and decide to get married. They know that their families will be very angry, so they go to Friar Lawrence and get married in secret. The next day, Tybalt sees Romeo. He is still angry with Romeo and wants to fight him. Romeo doesn't want to fight, but his best friend Mercutio does.
If you won't fight him, I will.
Mercutio fights Tybalt. Tybalt kills Mercutio. Romeo is so upset, he fights Tybalt and kills him too. The Prince of Verona is very angry and sends Romeo away. Juliet goes to Friar Lawrence for help.
Here is a special drink. You will sleep 2 days. Your family will think you are dead, but you will wake up. Then you and Romeo can be free together.
Friar Lawrence sends Romeo a letter to tell him the plan. But Romeo doesn't get the message. He hears that Juliet is dead. Romeo is so upset, he buys some poison and goes to see Juliet.
Now I will stay with you forever.
Too late, Juliet wakes up. She sees what happened. Oh no, you didn't leave any poison for me. But here is your knife. Romeo and Juliet are both dead. Friar Lawrence tells the Capulets and Montagues what happened. They are so sad, they agree not to fight anymore.
Few moments later.
Fable. Narration demonstrating a useful truth, especially in which animals speak as human. Legendary supernatural tale. My example for fable is The Fox and the Grapes. The Fox and the Grapes is one of the Aesop fables numbered 15 in the Perry Index. The narration is concise and subsequent retelling have often been equally so. So let's watch a short clip about the fox and the grapes.
The Fox and the Grapes. Once upon a time, a fox saw a bunch of grapes hanging from a vine. He wanted the grapes. So he jumped and jumped again. But he could not get the grapes. So he went away saying, "The grapes are sour."
Moral: we often pretend that we do not want a thing when we cannot get it.
A few minutes later.
Fairy tale. Fairy tale. Fairy tale. Story about fairies or other magical creatures, usually for children. My example about fairy tale is about the elves and the shoemaker. The elf and the shoemaker is set of fairy tales about poor shoemaker who receives much needed help from the three young helpful elves. So let's watch a short video clip about the elves and the shoemaker.
The Elves and the Shoemaker. There was once a shoemaker who worked very hard and made very good shoes. But still, he could not earn enough to make his living. At last, all his money ran out, and he had only enough leather left to make one more pair of shoes. That evening, he cut out the leather, ready to be stitched up the following morning. And then he followed his wife upstairs to bed, feeling very sad. He rose again at sunrise, said his prayers, and was about to settle down to work, when to his amazement, he saw the shoes all stitched up and ready on the table. The good man could not understand how it had happened. He examined the shoes carefully and found that they were quite beautifully stitched and finished off. The same day, a customer came into the shop and bought the shoes, and because they were of such excellent quality, he was willing to pay the double the usual price for them. With this money, the cobbler had bought enough leather for 2 more pairs of shoes. Again he cut them out, and again he left the leather on his bench overnight, thinking he would stitch them together the following morning. But when he awoke, he found that the work had already been done for him. The 2 pairs of shoes were as beautifully made as the first, and soon found willing buyers. And the shoemaker received enough money for them to buy leather for 4 more pairs. Soon it went on for weeks and months. Each evening, the shoemaker would carefully cut out the leather, say his prayers, and retire to bed. And each morning, he would find the shoes standing sewn and ready in neat rows on the bench. 8 pairs at first, then 12, then 20, and almost too many pairs to count. And he had so many customers that now he could afford to buy the finest skins and other costly materials besides. He cut out knee-high boots of the softest suede for the lords to wear when they rode off with their hounds to the hunt, and shoes of silk and brocade and velvet for the ladies to wear with their fashionable ball gowns. And before many months had passed, the shoemaker grew so rich that he began to want to share his prosperity with his invisible helpers. One night, he and his wife hid behind a pile of leather hides to see who these helpers were. At midnight, 2 little naked men appeared, and hey presto, they stitched up all the shoemaker's shoes for him. Then they disappeared. The shoemaker's wife was very sorry for them because of their nakedness, and she at once set to work to sew them the loveliest little clothes, while the shoemaker made them a pair of pointed silk shoes. They laid the present out and were on the watch again at midnight as the little men came in to do their work. When the elves saw their clothes, they were delighted. They put them on and laughed and danced all around the room. And they skipped out into the street, never to be seen again. But the shoemaker continued to be successful and prosperous in his work for the rest of his days.
Few inches later.
Fantasy. Fiction with strange... Fantasy. Fiction with strange or otherworldly setting or character. Fiction which invites suspension of reality. My example for fantasy is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. It is a 2016 fantasy film directed by David Yates, a joint British and American production. It is a spin-off of and prequel of Harry Potter film series. It was produced and written by J.K. Rowling in her screenwriting debut, inspired by her 2001 guidebook of the same name. Let's watch a short video clip about the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
You're an interesting man, Mr. Scamander. Just like your suitcase, I think there's much more to you than meets the eye. Kicked out of Hogwarts for endangering human life with a beast. Yet one of your teachers argued strongly against your expulsion. What makes Albus Dumbledore so fond of you, Mr. Scamander?
First trip to America?
Yes. Must get that fixed.
Anything edible in there?
No.
Any livestock?
No.
Welcome to New York.
No human could do what this thing is capable of.
Seconds later.
Fiction. Narrative literary works whose content is produced by the imagination and it's not necessarily based on fact. So my example for fiction is Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland is an 1865 novel by English author Lewis Carroll. It tells a young girl named Alice who falls through a rabbit hole into a subterranean fantasy world populated by peculiar anthropomorphic creatures. It is considered to be one of the best examples of the literary nonsense genre.
Alice, meet me under the gazebo in precisely 10 minutes. Alice Kingsley, will you be my wife?
Well, this is happening so quickly, I think I need a moment.
There is a place like no place on earth. Some say to survive it, you need to be as mad as a hatter. Which, luckily, I am. Alice, it's you. You're back. Alice!
Alice!
See? Alice? You're absolutely Alice. I'd know you anywhere. You're all late for tea!
return to Wonderland.
Since you've been gone, the Red Queen has taken over all of Wonderland. Help us make the world right again.
I need a pig here. I love a warm pig belly for my aching feet. Stop that. We have our champion.
Tightly.
This is impossible.
You believe it is.
3 days later.
Folklore. The songs, stories, myths, and proverbs of people or folk as handed down by word of mouth. My example about folklore is Ibong Adarna. Ibong Adarna is a 16th century Filipino epic poem. It is about an eponymous magical bird. So let's watch a short video clip about Ibong Adarna.
Iakyat nito ang biag! Mamumuli lang po ako ng ibon. Ang dami namang maaaring hulihin dyan. Bakit ibon pa? Dahil yung polo na sa sakit ng ama ko. Gagaling ng ama mo, ako naman ang papatay mo.
Parusahan ang masamang muling nagnais na kanyang kapamakan.
Bakit hindi na lang natin siya ihulog dito? Para kainin na siya ng mga pating.
Huwag kang maingay. Kakainin ka ng halimaw. Papakawalan kita, kaibigan ako.
Ayon sa nuno, siya lang ang may karapatang humuli sa ibong Adarna.
Inipon ko kayo, hindi upang sariwain ang alitan. Ito ay pag-uusap.
Kumiwa ka ng maliit na sugat sa iyong palad. At tigaan mo ng dakta nitong sagid sito pang hindi ka makatulog sa huni ng ibon.
Weeks later.
Horror. Fiction in which evoke a feeling of dread in both the character and the reader. My example for horror is It. It is about a 7 helpless, unbullied children are forced to face their worst nightmare when Pennywise, a shape-shifting clown, reappears. The clown, an ancient evil, torments children before feeding on them. Let's watch a short video clip about It.
There you go. She's all ready, Captain.
Thanks, Billy.
It's not like any town I've ever been in before. People die or disappear 6 times the national average. And that's just grown-ups. Kids are worse. Way, way worse.
We all float down here.
I saw something. There was this
Clown. Yeah, I saw him too.
Look. It's all connected by the sewers. That's where it lives. What happened?
Bill, if you'll come with me, you'll float too. You'll float too. You'll float too. You'll float too. You'll float too.
Many months later.
Legend. Stories sometimes of a national or hero folk, which has a basis in fact but also includes imaginative materials. My example for legend is about Biag ni Lam-ang. Biag ni Lam-ang is an epic poem of the Ilocano people from the Ilocos region of the Philippines. It is notable for being the first Filipino folk epic to be recorded in written form. So let's watch a short video clip about Biag ni Lam-ang.
Biag ni Lam-ang, or also called as Life of Lam-ang, is a pre-Hispanic epic poem of the Ilocano people of the Philippines. The story was handed down orally for generations before it was written down around 1640, assumedly by a blind Ilocano named Pedro Bacanero.
Six and a half hours later.
Mystery. Fiction dealing with the solution of a crime or the unrevealing of secrets. My example for mystery is Dora and the Lost City of Gold. Dora and the Lost City of Gold is a 2019 American adventure comedy film. It's a live-action adaptation of Nick Jr. animated television series Dora the Explorer and directed by James Babin. Dora Marquez embarks on a mission with her monkey and her friends to rescue her missing parents and solve the mystery of a fabled city of gold. So, let's watch a short video clip about Dora and the Lost City of Gold.
Dora, it's time for dinner.
If you think you know Dora,
Delicioso! Can you say delicioso?
She'll grow out of it.
think again.
Dora, this isn't the jungle. It's high school. It's life or death.
So if I don't talk to you, don't take it personal, okay? We're all just trying to survive. High school's a horrible nightmare.
Excuse me? I'm kind of stuck.
Who are you?
I'm glad you brought it up.
I'm just kidding. I don't actually care.
We're on to something big, Dora.
An ancient city made of gold.
We're gonna break some rules.
We're coming with you, Prima.
Oh, look. Dora brought a knife on the field trip, everybody. It's a jungle puzzle.
Stop pulling levers!
The jungle is perfectly safe.
Not safe! Not safe!
Seriously? You had that in your backpack, too?
Come on, Boots.
Dora and the Lost City of Gold.
One eternity later.
Short story. Fiction of such brevity that it supports no subplots. My example for short story is about The Lottery. The Lottery is a short story written by Shirley Jackson. First published in June 26, 1948. Issue of the New Yorker. So let's watch a short video clip about The Lottery.
Years later.
Science fiction. Story based on impact of actual, imagined, or potential science, usually set in the future or other planets. My example for science fiction is The Time Machine. The Time Machine is a science fiction novel by H.G. Wells, published in 1895 and written as a frame narrative. The work is generally credited with the popularization of the concept of time travel by using a vehicle or device to travel purposely and selectively forward or backward through time. Let's watch a short video clip about Time Machine.
This is a story about a man who attempts time travel. He proposes the idea to a group of friends at his home, but they dismiss the idea due to a lack of understanding. He asks them to come back to his house a week later for dinner, to which he returns from his first time travel experience. The time traveler claims that he traveled in a time machine to a utopian world in the future. In this world, he meets little people called Eloi. They are childlike in both size and intellect, which fascinates him because he would have thought that humans of the future would be smarter and more sophisticated. As he explores this new society, he discovers that his time machine has been dragged into the foot of a statue. Seeing as he can't get to his machine, he continues to explore the community, noting several deep wells throughout the city. He climbs down the well and discovers the Morlocks, a group of ape-like men who live underground and are afraid of fire. He escapes the Morlocks and decides to travel to a green building in the distance for more answers. The green building he discovers is an old museum with several exhibits. Most of the exhibits are destroyed, but he finds matches, which happen to scare away the Morlocks. He also discovers that the Morlocks are eating the Eloi. He sets the forest on fire and the Morlocks panic and catch on fire. He eventually gets back into the time machine and travels further into the future, seeing the rise of the crab people and the end of the earth. When he finishes telling the story of his travels, the men at the house don't really believe him. Despite their lack of imagination, the time traveler goes back into the time machine and vanishes. While this story was not the first to mention the idea of time travel, it has been one of the most influential in the realm of science fiction. The time traveler's theories about the future civilization change frequently, which loosely demonstrates the scientific process. He theorizes at first that the future society is utopian, then communist, and then revolutionary. The style in which the story is told is important, but also confusing. The story is told in a second-hand account, yet the narrator simply lets the time traveler explain the entire story, making it seem like the story is being told in first person. More importantly, by allowing the story to be told in second person from a first-person perspective, this lets the story be told and continued, since if the story was told from the perspective of only the time traveler, how would the time traveler tell the story if he is still time traveling? Does that make sense? In other words, a story about time travel is strongest when told in first person because of all of the descriptive images we as the reader will experience through the character. However, because the time traveler has continued to time travel, if he was the narrator, the audience would not know about his first time travel trip until after he came back from his second trip, or if he came back at all. And story perspective can be just as confusing as time travel. If you try to trace the sequence of events, it just gets messy.
3:28 a.m.
Speech, public address, or discourse My example for speech is I Have a Dream. I Have a Dream is a public speech that was delivered by American civil rights activist Martin Luther King Jr. during the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom on August 28, 1963, in which he called for civil and economic rights and end to racism in the United States. Let's watch a short video clip about I Have a Dream.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream. My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Tomorrow.
Biography. A biography is simply an account or detailed description about the life of a person. It entails basic facts such as childhood, education, career, family, relationship, and death. My example for biography is Alexander Hamilton by Ron Chernow. Ron Chernow's Alexander Hamilton is not only the inspiration for a Broadway musical, but also a work of creative genius itself. So let's watch a short video clip about Alexander Hamilton.
Good evening, folks. My name is Ron Chernow, author of Alexander Hamilton. Kurt, take it away. Word got around, they said, this kid is insane, man. Took up a collection just to send him to the mainland. Get your education, don't forget from whence you came. And the world is gonna know your name. What's your name, man? Alexander Hamilton. My name is Alexander Hamilton. And there's a million things I haven't done. But just you wait, just you wait. Lynn, congratulations on winning the Pulitzer Prize, and folks, thank you so much for indulging me in this fantasy.
Autobiography. An autobiography is a self-written account of the life of oneself. My example for autobiography is Long Walk to Freedom, written by South African President Nelson Mandela. The book profiled his early life, coming of age, education, and 27 years in prison. Let's watch a short video clip about Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Mandela.
Nelson Mandela. You are Winnie Madikizela, the first black social worker they've ever had, and you are the most beautiful girl I've ever seen.
I heard you have a lot of girlfriends. I'm different.
This is your final warning!
They're not breaking any laws.
Get older, I will be stronger. They'll call me freedom.
Something has to change. For 50 years, we have been talking peace and non-violence. Not anymore.
When I get older, I will be stronger.
Aluminium powder mixed with an acid catalyzes, and you've got
Then it goes back, and then it goes back, and then it goes back, and then it goes back.
If the blacks take over, our
country is finished. What is it that you personally want?
I have beautiful children, a beautiful wife. I want them to walk free in their own land.
The situation on the streets is out of control.
Somebody wants me.
The accused are responsible for acts of sabotage with the intention of overthrowing the government.
Nelson Mandela, do you plead guilty or not guilty?
My lord, it is not I, but the government that should plead guilty.
You will never leave your... You will never touch a woman or a child again. It's a pity they didn't hang you. I'm going to make sure you wish they had.
The more they oppress us, the harder we fight.
Freedom. It is an ideal for which I am prepared to die. Shall we begin?
Day 4.
Poetry, verse and rhythmic writing with imagery that creates emotional responses. My example for poetry is the Odyssey. The Odyssey is one of two major ancient Greek epic poems attributed to Homer. So let's watch a short video clip about the Odyssey.
Hallmark Entertainment presents
Who are you?
I am Odysseus.
the greatest adventure of all time.
You must make this journey.
Set the sails!
An epic voyage into worlds beyond imagining.
You don't recognize me?
An incredible story of wonders beyond belief.
All the secrets of the world.
I see now you believe.
A movie event unlike any you have ever seen before.
Me, Odysseus! I conquered Troy!
The Odyssey. A classic adventure. Delightful, larger than life. A feast for the eyes. Irresistible. A major entertainment event. Armanda Sante, Greta Scacchi, Geraldine Chaplin, Bernadette Peters, Eric Roberts, Isabella Rossellini, and Vanessa Williams.
Your destiny is to become immortal, to have your name on the lips of endless generations.
The Odyssey.